Hi everyone, my name's KJ. I work at Zendesk, and I'm here to tell the story about how we enabled continuous profiling in our application. So a bit of background. In early last year, Zendesk, where I work, acquired the startup called Outbound, which was just a couple of people, and my team took ownership of their product, and we kind of took it off their hands and looked after it ourselves. And there's a lot of unfamiliar code. It was a new language, Golang, and we didn't really have a good sense for where to dive in to start solving problems. The problem I'll go into in this presentation is that we had a service that would just occasionally stop processing its messages. It would get deadlocked, and of course we would do turn it off and on again ops, which is not like a great solution. So we needed to get some insight into what's going on in this code, and this is where profiling can help us out. So Golang's got the pprof profile collector built in, and it can provide us with information about CPU usage, that sort of thing. You run it and it collects data. So we wrapped the pprof stuff up into a Jenkins job so we could like press a button, and then like for the next minute our application would be sort of sending this tracing data to Jenkins so we could look at it. So the idea was that in the middle of the night, when the deadlock happened, we'd get alerted, and then we'd click the button in Jenkins to get some data. Then we'd reboot it, and the next day, with fresh eyes, stare at the profile and see if we could work out what went wrong. Unfortunately, this is actually what happens most of the time, which is me at 3 a.m. is not very good at remembering to press the button in Jenkins. So these things would just not get fixed because we'd keep rebooting them. So we've got a problem where there's a thing that people should be doing, they're not doing it. Probably means people shouldn't be doing the thing, we should automate it. So what if instead of running the profiler, we're profiling all the time? So this is where Stackdriver Profiler comes in. It's a part of Google Cloud. Basically, you drop it into your app, and then it's constantly collecting profiling data. You don't need to remember to run it. This is literally all it took to enable it. We like put those 6 lines in our code and like deployed, and that was that. So it's like super easy. And we did that one morning, and like literally later that day, the ideal opportunity to break this out and have a look came up, because we had some kind of worker that was like slowing down, getting slower and slower, and then you'd reboot it, and it would come good for a while. So we wanted to get inside this thing's head and find out what's going on. So we opened the Stackdriver Profiler console. I'll give you the 30-second version of like how to read this. What we want to know is what the threads in our application are doing. So like the top kind of represents the total number of threads in our program, and the bits at the bottom represent the number of threads in our program that are doing like that particular thing. So in our case, when we looked at this for like 5 minutes, it became really obvious that 90% of our threads were doing like pointless rubbish like audit logging, and 10% of the threads were actually doing the work we wanted them to be doing. So like obviously we fixed that, and it was like really easy. So the cool thing here is that we found this out in like 5 minutes of looking around in the console, and this problem had probably existed for months beforehand, and it had been ignored. But with this new visibility, it was really easy to find the problem. If you're not using Google Cloud, this wasn't a total waste of time. There are other options. I think Stack Impact is one, although I've not used it. So to kind of look back, what has this talk been about? If you're using Google Cloud, or not Google Cloud, and you're using Go, Java, or Node, turn on Stackdriver Profiler. It's dead simple to do. It'll take you 10 minutes, and you'll get some really valuable insights into what your code's doing. Yeah, and like in our case, it was really helpful for understanding this unfamiliar code base to get inside its head. And I think it was well worth the time we invested in it. Thanks very much.